KSI should not be rushing into a Jake Paul fight. KSI and Jake Paul have verbally agreed to fight each other in 2023. However, this fight has been years in the making, all starting after KSI called out Jake Paul back in 2018. At the time, Jake Paul was not open to the idea, to say the least.
I want a straight answer. Yes, let's have a boxing match, or no,
I'm not boxing you, KSI. You need this. I don't need this, bro. Why would I box you? It doesn't show who's a better fighter.
Things are very different now, as KSI is taking on Dillon Danis in January, with Jake Paul making his return not long after in February, and that's just the problem. While KSI took almost 3 years out of the ring, venturing and putting his focus towards other business ventures like his YouTube, music, and tours, Jake has been busy and active within the squared circle. There was a point where KSI was on par, if not well ahead of Jake, back in 2018 to early 2020, where they had a similar amount of experience and training. However, since then, Jake has become 6-0 as a professional boxer, while KSI has only made his return within the last 6 months. With KSI, he's always prided his career over being someone who is not talented, but has a crazy work ethic and dedication.
I've always said that I'm not talented. With the whole YouTube, with music, boxing, blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm not talented in anything I do. I just work hard to the point which allows me to reach a level similar to people that would be talented and then break beyond that.
But the problem with that is not only is Jake more talented than him in the sport, coming from a more athletic background, but he has drastically surpassed KSI in terms of experience. While Jake took 2020 and 2021 to have 5 pretty high-stake fights, KSI was seen to be pretty busy in these years, not able to train, as in early 2021, he explained that he couldn't train as he didn't have a pro boxing license in his home country of the UK.
Right now, I'm not even allowed to train. At boxing gyms, I'm not allowed to do anything to do with that will, be against the whole COVID thing. So
even in late 2021, KSI explained his extremely busy schedule, working on things like his tours, music videos, training, sidemen, and more. Meanwhile, Jake was solely focused on his boxing training for the majority of the time, while staying consistent with his fights. This of course doesn't mean that KSI wasn't training during this time or working hard. However, there's a difference between training regularly and actively training for an upcoming fight, like Jake in numerous full training camps with high stakes, risks, and more. In total, Jake has been through 8 full training camps up until this point, being for Deji, Gibb, Nate, Ben Askren, Tyron Woodley twice, the Plant Hasim fight, and then Anderson Silva. This is double KSI's 4 full training camps so far, being Joe, Logan Paul twice, and then Swarms and Pineda. KSI and Jake have both expressed how they want to fight 3 times within 2023, and with KSI coming back to the sport, it's not like Jake is at all slowing down, making it way harder for him to catch up. In fact, Jake can even be considered more active than KSI right now, as he had a scheduled fight in August which didn't end up happening, but he still went through that whole experience of the training camp. He fought Anderson Silva in October and now is fighting again in February. Meanwhile, KSI fought twice in one night in August and is now fighting Dillon Danis in January. So after these fights, within the last half a year or so, Jake would have gone through 3 whole training camps compared to KSI's 2. While this isn't necessarily a deal breaker, as KSI's camps may have been longer or more grueling, it is important to consider that Jake is remaining very active. KSI sort of compared his next fight against Dillon Danis to Jake's fight against Ben Askren. However, there's a couple of pretty big problems with this. Jake fought Ben nearly 2 years ago in April of 2021, putting this fight over 18 months behind Jake in comparison. And while Jake versus Ben was scheduled to be an 8-round fight, KSI's fight against Danis will only be a 6-rounder, putting him behind in that aspect as well, even if the fight doesn't go that long.
How many rounds?
6. I want 10. KSI was like, I'm a fucking cardio machine, dude. And I was like, yo, you
2-minute rounds?
6 rounds? 3.
3-minute round.
I'd rather it be 10 rounds, 12 rounds.
Sure.
Small nuances like Jake preparing for an 8-round fight and KSI preparing for a 6-round fight could go a long way. And with KSI expressing how he wants one more fight before Jake Paul, with Tyron Woodley being one of the options, that would again put him over a year and a half behind Jake Paul, as Jake first fought Woodley in August of 2021. Also, if you guys are enjoying the content, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, as it helps out tremendously and it lets me know if you guys want to see more. But back on track, KSI being behind doesn't necessarily mean KSI can't beat Jake Paul in the ring, as anything can happen on any given night, and KSI is surrounded by a good team paired with a proven work ethic over at the London Shoe Fighters. He has great training partners with the likes of Derek Chisora and David Hay being a part of the gym, while on the other hand, Jake has also been training with a high-level team of professional boxers and has access to former and current world champions in sparring. With both of these guys having the resources to train at a high level and them both showing great work ethic to maintain their status as the top echelon of the influencer boxing scene, experience is something that could not be made up, and with KSI putting boxing to the side up until recently, getting himself rushed into a Jake Paul fight in 2023 could prove to be a tough task with trouble ahead. So let's compare the best opposition they have faced. KSI and Jake's best wins are against both Logan Paul and Anderson Silva respectively, with both fights going the distance and being pretty competitive. It's pretty safe to say that Anderson Silva is the much more credible win, especially with it being a fight that just happened compared to KSI versus Logan 2 being over 3 years ago. So not only has Jake been more active, but he's also facing higher level competition than KSI, which puts him ahead at this time. Another big difference between these two is their goals in the sport of boxing. KSI has explained that his main goal is to get to Jake Paul, with him saying that will be his last fight.
I said I'm going to fight him in 2023. The only reason I've come back into the boxing scene is to fight Jake Paul and beat him. So I don't really understand why people are complaining about the people that I fight. Why don't we just enjoy the journey, enjoy the ride? Because, ladies and gentlemen, once I fight Jake Paul, I'm done. I'm not boxing anymore. I would have solidified my legacy and then I'm hanging up the gloves forever. So why do we want to rush that? Things are popping right now. You know, everyone's having a great time. Everyone's enjoying the influencer YouTuber boxing scene right now. Misfits is flying. I'm enjoying boxing. I'm enjoying the whole scene. Everything is great. Why do we want to rush the end product? Because best believe, once it's done, you guys are just going to miss it.
Meanwhile, Jake has expressed that his goals in boxing go much beyond that, as he plans to be in it for as long as he can to keep getting and winning big fights to eventually become a world champion.
Like, you're really a boxer. It's what you want to do.
Yeah, I want to be the light heavyweight champion of the world, and I will become the light heavyweight champion of the world. And the funny thing is, though, I know I could do it. My skill level, my natural talent. You have to have the natural talent and the skill that's there. That's that power and speed. And I have those things. And the confidence also comes from me yesterday sparring the former 3-time light heavyweight champion of the world and winning all 3 rounds when we sparred. It's very realistic, and that's right now. Think 2 years from now, 3 years from now, when I actually go to make that run, I'm going to be a whole nother level of boxer. And I think it's just the story behind it where like everyone doubted me. Everyone goes from like fighting influencers to fight a real boxer, to fight a UFC champion, to fight a real boxer. Like, then I just become the world champion for fun, just to prove that I could do it. I think that's an incredible story.
While this obviously seems delusional from Jake Paul, it is the job of the fighter to believe they can win and be the best, which applies as well to KSI, who just hasn't quite shown enough to the audience that shows he would beat Jake Paul very easily as he says he would.
I'm going to throw some names at you and you tell me what you think of them.
Okay.
Jake Paul.
Oh, light work. Yeah, light work. Yeah, bro, I beat Logan Paul. Logan Paul is better than Jake Paul.
Yeah.
So why would I struggle with Jake? I mean, yes, he's got the highlight reels, but once he's in the ring with me, yeah, I'm a different animal, man.
Fair.
So in my opinion, KSI would probably need more time to even the playing field in terms of their experience, and would have to try to outdo Jake in terms of activity if he wants a chance at catching up. But let me know what your thoughts are on KSI versus Jake Paul and whether you think KSI is in over his head wanting this fight so quickly in 2023. But thank you guys so much for watching, and if you enjoy my content, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I will catch you guys next time.